people's book background, so that's a great set of background there. So should I hop in,
yeah,
Neal?
please, Anthony.
Okay. All right. And by the way, video isn't turned on for you, or you're very
yeah, I'm
still?
keeping it off for now.
Okay. All right.
You don't want to see me, do you?
All right. Okay. So so firstly, I think some of you may know me. I'm Anthony from SeedLegals. You may also have seen Pitch Deck Clinic, where if you're looking to do a pitch deck, I see many pitch decks at SeedLegals. Many of them are not so good. So people keep calling me and asking, can I give you feedback on your pitch deck? And so my goal is to do something in a scalable way. So if you Google SeedLegals Pitch Deck Clinic, if you haven't already seen it, or go to SeedLegals Resources Investor Hub, you will see a pitch deck clinic where so far there are about 10 pitch decks. And in each case, I get on a 30-minute call with the founder to go through it. And that's a good, I think, a good way, based on feedback, on information to have in your slide deck. But that's a bit different to the pitch. So the pitch is typically, it has been sitting in front of a VC or standing on a stage at a WeWork event for 3 minutes or at Exponential, and pitching to a group of investors in the room. And you typically have either 1 minute, 3 minutes, or 5 minutes to get your idea across. And so the question is, how can you do, as the Americans would say, a kick-ass pitch that has investors at the end wanting to invest? Now, your stand-up pitch is, in a sense, not hugely dissimilar to your pitch deck, except that when you have a pitch deck that you send to somebody, firstly, you've probably got a 30-minute slot with them, but secondly, it needs to work without you presenting. But when you're presenting, your goal is to have some background slides while you do a powerful presentation. And broadly, the presentation you can think is falling into 3 zones. The first one is, what is the problem you're solving? The second one is, how are you solving it? And really the third one is traction, how well you're doing, which is going to be the clincher. So you want to establish the story, the pain point, why somebody wants to get emotionally invested with your pitch, and then leverage that to show why you are investable and why it's a great product. And now you've got someone hooked. And then at the last bit, turn it into I want in by showing the level of traction, growth, whatever it is. Let's start with the last piece, which is traction. So when you talk to funds, funds will often be looking to invest based on revenue. So your best level of traction is monthly revenue that's growing 25% or whatever it is, or 10% month on month. But if you don't have revenue yet, then one step back is, can you show traction from the number of users? But if you don't have users yet, can you show traction from interest from partners or something like that? So your goal, however far you are along, is to show something that's going up month on month, and to create that fear of missing out so that investors want in. Now, again, if your company's growing and you've got revenue and you get a lot of column inches in the news, that's easy. If you're nowhere near that, then you have to work hard to show something that's growing. So let's start then very quickly at the beginning. Investors love to create something or love to see something that shows your personal passion and pain point. My father had dialysis and he wanted this, and therefore I created this app, is a great starting point. But keep it short and sweet so that your entire pitch doesn't disappear into the how you many years ago got started on this. Keep it short and snappy. Anyway, the last piece from me on this before I go is that it's super important that if you're given a certain amount of time, that in the eye of the person viewing it, they can see the story arc about to complete within this time frame. So if you're watching, an episode of whatever your favorite series is on TV, up front it's 30 or 45 minutes, and you can see that, they're nowhere near finding the murder victim, but it has to resolve in the next few minutes. So your audience, if you're halfway through your 5-minute presentation and you're still talking about how your brother and you on holiday in Mallorca had this idea, they can see there's going to be a train wreck at the end. So match that beautiful story arc of getting people hooked, and then they can see that it's going to complete at the 3 or 5 or whatever number of minutes. And now your goal is, so that when you have 3 seconds or whatever to spare, you beautifully wrap up just before the end point, and you don't either run over, which people now feel like you're eating someone else's time, or the presenters need to cut you off. So with that in mind, I will cut myself off here, and hope that was useful to excite and get everyone prepped for doing the perfect event. So Neal, how long do people have for the pitch on this session?
Well, we're aiming at 3 to 5 minutes again,
Okay.
with a view that, as you quite rightly said, the pitch when you're actually standing up or currently virtual should be more or less straight to the point. And the problem, I'm sure we'll see today as well, and again, this isn't criticism, is that founders tend to want to explain everything on the first state, where they really shouldn't be. They should just be inciting some interest to then get the questions that the interested investors will ask. And it tends to be a trait, and I think you've probably seen it as well, Anthony, that people tend to either waffle on about their holiday in Portugal when they have the idea, or trying to explain everything with a 30-slide presentation in a 3 to 5 minute thing. So what we'll cover later is
on that basis, I think we should try and keep it at 3 minutes, because the likelihood is they're not going to stick to 3 minutes. So let's shoot for 3 minutes
okay.
today, and then that's good practice for everybody.
Okay. So one more point, if I can hop in quickly, Neal,
sure.
Which is that, of course, now the world has changed and everything's about Zoom presentation. So here's a minute on the perfect Zoom presentation. So the thing you don't want to see, which I'm guessing you'll see on many of the presentations, is the first bit of the presentation goes with futzing around trying to get the screen share working. And then when the screen share works, you'll see PowerPoint with the slide sorter on the side and the nav on the top. You should sort all of that beforehand and prep it. So in your PowerPoint, if you're using PowerPoint, set it into read mode or presenter mode. Make sure that it's actually showing on screen. Set your window size so it's quite large, so that when you screen share it, you don't get a tiny window. Sometimes it looks like only a bit of the screen fits on. So make it suitably sized, hide all the stuff around it, and prep it beforehand. I've seen ones where people have got 2 monitors and Zoom sharing one monitor, but the slide is on the other monitor, and you end up seeing their desktop. So I was on some event with about a dozen companies presenting. One of them I spoke to beforehand and showed them these things and practiced with them doing a screen share beforehand, and it didn't work at all. And after about a minute of playing around, we got it going. And then when all of the founders presented, they all had the rubbish slide sorter and the wrong screen, and this guy was like pitch perfect. So practice that beforehand, and you want to come on and go, hi, I'm Bob from whatever. There's your full screen share, and you're good to go, while everyone else is drowning trying to find the lifeboats. You're good to go. So that's it for me on the perfect Zoom presentation.
Anthony, that's great. This one of the reasons of doing this today is, again, to make sure that is exactly what people do. And I'm guilty sometimes in the past of having screens up, and people don't need to see that I've been looking at yachts when I should be talking about founders or something like that. So yeah, very valid point. Now, Georgina, you're at the top of my screen. So are you okay to go?
Yeah.
Right, I'll mute myself. This is Georgina from My Shoots. Friend of ours has presented before. Obviously, Anthony knows her. So, Georgina, please carry on.
I need to share my screen first. Hello, I'm Georgina Bowman. I'm the CEO and founder of My Shoots. My Shoots is an app for connecting the shooting community, and it will be a game changer for shooting sports. The current problem is shoots cannot privately communicate with their clients, and often these clients are high worth individuals. It's very time intensive for a shoot captain and the gamekeepers to organise their shoots between their guns, beaters and picker-uppers. And currently brands and businesses cannot target their correct audience. And I have come up with the idea because I was a sales shooting agent and discovered that getting products to market as a sales agent is a very inefficient way of getting to market. There is also a current problem with game meat wastage going into landfill. It's currently reported that up to 2 million birds during the shooting season can end up in landfill. This problem is getting better. There isn't a schedule for a one-stop platform to schedule and organise a shooting trip, and new fund channels of distribution are wanted. The total addressable market in the UK and the USA is 21 billion. But this does not include Europe, the Nordic countries, Africa, Asia, or the rest of the world, or shooting, gaming, and simulated AR and VR industries. To give you some market research or statistics, gun makers quite often sell their gun pairs in excess of 100k. The gun cartridge market in the UK is worth 30 million. The hotel segment overall is worth 81 million. And it is reported that slow gin during the shooting season is worth 3 million just during shooting season. That is just one bottle of slow gin per shoot during the 11s. My customers through the app are shoots, guns, beaters and picker-uppers, hotels, pubs and restaurants, chefs and game meat. The items that can be sold through the app are guns, apparel, guns, game meat. And although my idea is, my prototype demonstrates it for the game meat market, it's vertically scalable for clays, pigeons, ducks, stalking, skeet, air gun, and gaming, as I said. How will it work? It will be bought as a license through the App Store by the shoot captain or admin for the shoot. It will be a yearly license of £250 if the shoot do their own admin, or £500 if My Shoots does the admin. Once you've got your license, you'll be able to put on details about your shooting estate, upload your videos, photos, and description. You'll be able to add your guns, beaters, and picker-uppers. The solution will create managing and communicating safely with speed and efficiency in organising the shoot, a single platform making life easier. I want to introduce people to be encouraged to eat what they shoot, which is why I want the nearest cafe, restaurant, hotel, and pub associated with the shoot on the app, and the nearest gun shop. This is really important to me because we have 20,000 international clients coming into the UK every year to shoot. Once they've purchased their shoot, the high-end shoots are £8,000 to £10,000 per day. The app would be text to the client. They can then book their own hotel, restaurant and pub during their trip. When they land in the UK, they quite often come with no equipment. So they're able to put the app straight into the sat nav on their hire car or for the taxi to take them to the shoot and take them to the gun shop to buy their equipment. I don't really want traditional advertising, so I have a partner page where we're running competitions. So I am trying to encourage brands and businesses to sponsor shoots and run competitions. So for example, Land Rover would be able to say, I want to sponsor a shoot for February. The first 5 captains to come forward will pick one. The idea, or if Barber might give 10 jackets away for the month, first 10 people to claim them. The idea is to encourage people to the brand's own online shops. Why now? I need to be first to market as no one is doing it the way I want to do it. Investment to move quickly. Brands and businesses are looking for new, fun distribution channels. Shooting community are looking for a safer platform to communicate through. Innovation in sports will be more digital as we enter a new normal world. And Europe's largest shooting and hunting conference has been cancelled in 2022. So brands and businesses will want a platform to show their spring, summer, autumn, winter collection through. The result will be My Shoots will become the market leader. My USBs are that my shoots will be able to create a safe community for communicating through. Brands can target their ideal customer, promoting responsible shooting whilst raising money for conservation. 10% of the license fee will go to conservation charities and game meat charities, and it will be up to the shoot to choose which of those charities it goes to, whilst purchasing the license in the App Store. And when the competitions are run, when sponsorship is done to the shoots, 10% of the sponsorship fee will go directly to the shoot estate, their conservation on that estate. My completion to date, I've had investor readiness funded by Innovate UK, delivered by RTC North. Also, they've funded market research. I had the IP office do an IP audit. I have certified patent and copyright for my wireframe designs. I have a non-coded prototype, and I own the IP to my logo and domain. My financial forecast is a revenue of 113k in my first year, and going up to 8 million in my year 5. I'm aiming for an exit by acquisition by trade sale or IPO. My current team is, I've got a CTO, and my development team are in Serbia, and I have a specialist on-demand team of advisors that will all have their own responsibilities within the app once it's developed. The ask was 150k for CFAST or SAFE with a pilot runway for 6 months before going for my full seed round. I'm on SeedLegals with SEIS, Advanced Assurance approved, and I have a pro bono who's Julie Barber, who's an author and corporate corporate exits, all of about 10 million. So the summary is I'll be creating one-stop platform for gun sports, allowing the love and passion of shooting and the benefits of society to continue with no direct competition. I'm bound to execute the vision due to my passion, determination, and relentless commitment. Thank you. If there's any questions.
Georgina, thanks very much. Now, we've got a couple of people to give some comments. Anthony, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll hop in quickly. So thank you for that. Obviously, I think the first thing, obviously, Georgina, with your proposition, it's not your average Shoreditch mobile app. So there's a bit of a, what are we looking at here? So you should develop that. I think 2 key things jump out from me. Number one is, I think you felt rushed that you were trying to get through too many slides, and so you had to rush it, and so the story.
It's 5 minutes. That pitch is RTC North have got me to get that to 5 minutes, as Julie Barber has, and then you told me to 3 minutes, so I sped up too much. Okay,
so yes, so it felt like you had more slides than would beautifully fit the available time to develop the story, and they felt slightly rushed. I think the other thing is, what I'm interested is the difference often between a pitch deck designed for sending to an investor to look at and one designed to show on screen. And the one on screen is generally just some background material, often just pictures and a few bullet points to show and bring to life the story you're telling. And I think the one that often to me jumps out is crossing over and you lose the audience, and nothing personal here, but is the financial slide. So I think to me, the background for a verbal pitch is really simple, big, bold graphics and statements, and then leave, your goal isn't to get people to invest and write the check on this pitch. It's to get people to call you to then get the full deck afterwards. And I think when you look around the room, so to speak, and it's difficult when you're presenting, you may see in an actual pitch session, when you show the list of advisors or the detailed financials, people start checking their emails because you've kind of lost people at that point. So nothing, again, personal on your side, but I think particularly on a Zoom pitch, a smaller set of slides, simpler, and a lot of storytelling is the preferred way to go to get people hooked.
Okay, thank you.
Anthony, thanks for that. Craig, any comments?
Yeah, well done, Georgina. It's never easy. I'd like to reiterate, obviously, the things that Anthony said. resonates with myself. A few points. You identified market size quite effectively, but just how you're going to target those clients, capture the clients, and what the cost of acquiring those clients moving forward or users will be, is a sort of metrics that I would like to see initially to capture my interest. As Anthony said, there's a lot going on in your business. It's a bit
even in my 5-minute pitch, even though that's in my pitch going out.
Get it there, get it punchy, get it to the sort of, you've shown that you've done the research for these things, but I would like to see how you're going to be able to get over those target lines and achieve those points, just so that people know what they're getting into. That would be my point. It doesn't need to be elaborate, just a couple of lines in there, and that would be something that I would like to see.
I can answer that question if you want me to now.
Yeah, this is only for practice. Don't worry, it's only for practice. It's just so that you can get it out there for next time. But that would be my input. But well done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. We've got a chat open, so if anybody's got any questions and such like, or comments for anybody, please put it in there. Anthony, obviously, you can put all the relevant information on SeedLegals. I've got a file that I'll send that's got all your details on it later. Dan, are you about? Do you have any comments at the moment?
I'm about.
Hi there. Welcome. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Good.
Hi, Georgina. This is the second time I've seen your present, actually, so it's quite useful. First of all, congratulations. There's a lot. You've got a very limited time, so you want to make sure that information is really specific and relevant. Yeah. So you don't necessarily want to put loads of detail, but what you put has to be relevant. So, for instance, why bother putting the TAM there when you could maybe put the SAM or the SOM there at the end of the day? You know that's what I'm going to be interested. That's maybe going to wake me up at the end of the day to realize that this is a large market, even if it's a rather unconventional market. Yeah. A little bit on the overall format of the deck. It's rather unconventional. Everything's center aligned, so reading it is not necessarily easy. This is all about making things as easy as possible for the person who's going to be looking at the end of the day. So so it doesn't, great if it looks snazzy and great, but everything else was just a bit tough on the eyes at times. Particularly when you're dealing with something which is maybe a little bit, as Anthony points out, not your typical Shoreditch deck at the end of the day. So there are certain questions you're putting on your decks, and then what you're actually answering is not the actual answer. So for instance, you've got a deck like why now, when actually it's actually answering whyers. So think about what if you're going to use a particular format, don't be afraid to break it and put whyers. But I was looking at it thinking that's, it's a bit like your solution slide isn't actually giving us a solution. It's telling you what you're doing, not the solution. It felt a bit disjointed, a lot of your headings and a lot of the body of the text at the end of the day. And if I had more time, or I don't know how, Neal runs this, I would, go through some of those decks and slides and just say, let's make it a little bit more relevant at the end of the day. So there are two things that I'm going to be looking at on your Zoom call. There's going to be the overall slides, and then there's you there as well, and you look petrified. Okay, so there's two things that are, it's an opportunity to sell one of the three things that investors are looking at. Investors are very interested in the product, they're interested in the market, and they're interested in the team. And you're there, and you want some, and your opportunity to sell that you, full of energy, really invigorated, really excited. This is the person I'm going to be investing in at the end of the day. So practice it, but don't look at, you look like you were reading it at the end of the day, as opposed to possibly, coming a little bit more off the cuff and a little bit more enthusiastic. So take the opportunity. Don't be afraid to smile and be engaging without necessarily being so distracting as sometimes as you find some startups are at the end of the day. So other than that, yeah, if I could go on, but any more questions I'll maybe field later on.
And thanks very much. And Georgina, thank you. We'll sort of have open session later on as well. Let's get through a few more of these.
Maybe one more, Neil,
sorry,
if I'm allowed.
yeah, sure, Karen.
I think earlier on you need to answer the question, how does it make money? And
Yeah.
I think it would be quite useful.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Right, let's move on. Now, also on my screen there is, well, she's disappeared down the list there somewhere. Asma from TUPEAR, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Right, I'd like to invite you to carry on.
So I'll share my screen with you.
You share your screen and away you go.
Okay, yeah, can you guys hear me and see me? Perfect. So yeah, my name's Asma. I am one of the co-founders of TUPEAR. We are an edtech platform. So if you think back to when you were at university, how many times did you leave a piece of coursework to the last minute? Or you had an exam coming up and you were
Asma, do you want to try and increase the volume? I'm having trouble hearing you too.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.
So as I was saying, my name's Asma. I am one of the co-founders of TUPEAR. If you think back to when you were at university or when you were doing any sort of kind of learning, how many times did you leave a piece of work or an assignment to the last minute? Maybe you had to ask your professors for an extension, or maybe you tried to set up a study group with your friends, but you know that's not the most productive because you will go off topic, end up talking about different things. So the problem that we're trying to solve at TUPEAR is that 70% of students consider themselves chronic procrastinators. Unfortunately, this leads to students feeling like, you know, they're not accomplished, feeling anxious, feeling stressed, they're missing deadlines. Some of them even drop out of their universities or the courses that they're studying. At the moment, if you look on online forums or any sort of platforms where students are congregating, you'll find that around like 200,000 students are looking for accountability partners. And at the moment, unfortunately, there is no platform to find such a partner. So at TUPEAR, we connect students to a community of study partners. Our platform is really simple. You log in, you tell us, you build your profile, you tell us the kind of partner that you're looking for, you tell us your study habits, and from that, we'll connect you with what we call your ideal study partner. We'll connect you with someone who has the same availability as you. You guys can schedule study sessions together. You guys can join what we call our virtual 24/7 study room, where you'll find students not just from your institution, but from other institutions as well. So this is just roughly what our platform looks like. So at the moment, we have about 4 competitors. And what makes us different from our competitors who are productivity apps is that we have the human element. So if you download a productivity app, it's so simple to ignore the notifications or essentially just delete it after a few days. But with us, because you're connected to an actual person, it's really hard to ignore the messages that they're sending you or the study session requests that they're sending you. What makes us even more different from our direct competitor FocusMate is that with FocusMate, they connect you with a partner for a limited amount of time, which is 50 minutes. But with us, you have a recurring relationship. So many of the students who use our platform, you know, they don't need someone just for today, but they have an exam coming up in about 2 months' time, and they need someone that they can rely on consistently. And we also have tailored study partners. So from the information that you've given us, we'll find you someone that matches that. So in terms of market validation at the moment, our direct competitor has about 600,000 active users. If you look on Twitter, you look on Facebook, you look on Reddit, there's roughly about 500,000 users who are looking for an accountability partner or a study partner. So in terms of why now, on YouTube, there's about millions of study with me YouTube videos, but in terms of the views that they're getting, I would say again there's about 1 million views that each of these videos are getting. Universities are looking for ways to help their students connect, and there's been an increase in the popularity of online courses, and essentially because of COVID, everything has moved remotely. A lot more people are studying remotely and they're feeling isolated, and many students, especially first-year students, don't have the same experience that other students would have had. So they're feeling even more lonely, even more isolated. So I would say right now is the perfect time for our product to be launched. Back in June, we launched the first version of our platform, and within the first month, we had about 150 users, and we were growing 40% month on month. In terms of our market size, there's about 75 billion. Sorry, the productivity market is worth about 75 billion. In terms of our service addressable market, it's about 1.8 million undergraduate students who claim themselves as procrastinators. And yeah. In terms of how we're getting user acquisition, it's going to be through social media marketing. That's because this is where the demographic of our users hang out. We're also going to be using influencer marketing. So we realized that on the first version of our platform, a lot of the people were coming because they saw someone else using it, and also partnering with educational institutions. My team is made up of my co-founder, Io, who is a master's student and also has been a tutor for the last 5 years. And myself, I've worked in startups for the last 5 years as well. Our business model consists of companies who are looking to target university students advertising on our platform, commission on products that are sold, so educational products that are sold on our platform, and also per-click. So these are the milestones coming up for this year, and I'm glad to say that we've already achieved one of these milestones. So we've already launched the pilot with Sheffield University and are in talks with another university. In August, we expect to increase our web app capacity, and by January 2022, we expect to have 500 daily active users. Essentially, our vision is that we are creating a world where motivation is no longer a hurdle to achieving academic goals. We're creating the go-to platform for students to connect and motivate. We are planning on raising our seed funding round by April with the amount of 130,000. And yeah, that's it from me. Thank you so much.
Lovely, thanks very much. Just a quick question, and it's something we should, well, we'll cover anyway as we go forward. Asma, regarding the raise, have you got some sort of SCIS or advanced approval for the business?
Sorry, so the plan is within this month, we're just getting ready for that. So we're planning on applying for advanced assurance SCIS.
Okay. Sorry, just let somebody in. Anthony, I'd just like to pick you up on this one if you can, and rather just sort of going off base for a minute as far as the pitch goes, but could you just give us the figures on the capital raise for SCI, SEIS companies versus those that don't have that?
Well, I think the, advance assurance isn't legally required by HMRC, but it's usually the difference between an investor going, I'm in, versus come back when you've got it. So if you do qualify for SEIS and you have your advance assurance, there's nothing like the little magic, offering SEIS and or EIS, have advance assurance. And that's the clincher on the last page. So your goal is to hook people, and then on the last pages, take out any of the, yeah, I'll wait, you're all about procrastination. So avoid the procrastination on wanting to invest.
Right, thanks for that. Sorry, Dan, can I get you in here?
Oops. Yes, you can. Yes.
Thank you. There you are.
How are we for time there, Neil?
We're all right. I mean,
no, I mean, how was that presentation for time? It felt there was a lot covered in there. So if it was 3 minutes, that was excellent.
Yeah, I think it's just to say from the start, and the whole purpose of this is to narrow down timings and presentations. I think Anthony pointed out quite rightly that a pitch event now on Zoom, or even on standing up when we can again physically, it should be that literally that elevator pitch. The less said, the better. This is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. This is who we are. This is what we're trying to do, and how we're doing it. As I say, everything else comes afterwards, and I think if we can get through these practice events and help the startups, is that it's not about trying to explain everything. to people and to try and rush it all in into 3 minutes. It's to try and change the mindset of the founders to say, look, you've got 3 minutes. Don't talk about your holiday in Portugal. Don't do this. You know, get straight to the point and basically say as little as possible, but hook somebody, because you want them coming back to you with questions. That's what I'll say, but we'll carry on. Sorry, Dan, to interrupt. Please.
All right. So, I mean, Asma, that was a great presentation. But I suspect an investor who's going to be interested probably is interested by 3/4 of the way through, and there's maybe a few slides at the end which maybe you'd want for a further deck or when they're doing some due diligence or something else. But on the whole, it's a strong deck. It's very clean. It's not overcomplicated typically with too much text on the whole. So there's a lot going for that text. It's full of stats without it being bombarded with over text, with too much, I thought. So you kind of validated the opportunity and the problem by pushing some of those stats that you've got there, and I really like that. So it shows you've done your homework and you know your space, I think, as opposed to just I've got an opinion on something. I'm just having a look in my notes. I guess the big thing that I would step away from, the big thing that I think about immediately is this is a busy market. There's some big competitors in there. And, I wonder how far you're going to get with, how you're going to manage your brand and create your brand at the end of the day. When you've got big companies like Forest in there that are established, you can get so far with social media maybe, or maybe you can't, that's it. So, I mean, it was the first thing that struck me. Your traction slide, I thought was amazing, by the way. You immediately are interesting to you because despite the fact that angels and VCs are all about, VCs are meant to be about venture, it's meant to be about a risk. At the end of the day, they're terrible at taking risks on the whole. And the fact that you've got some existing customers already and in a very short time is maybe a message that needs to be brought through a little earlier, because that deck was immediately make I think a lot of people who would think, oh, that's interesting. That's, there's something there you're dealing with. You've obviously got something there that maybe we can sprinkle some, little venture, water on and grow on those seeds at the end of the day. So likewise, your why now, I really liked it on the whole. Yeah. So yeah, I thought there's a lot going for that. I thought it was a really strong, I think there's very little that needs done, maybe just a little bit copying down at the end of the day.
Thank you, Dan. Anybody else got any comments they want to make at the moment? Or
Can I hop in with some comments?
Sure, please do, Anthony.
So I've got 5 comments. So thing 1, make it exciting, make it a drama. So by the way, I should say before that, it was a really great presentation. So starting at the beginning, had you started with, we all procrastinate, students, if you go back to your student days, imagine how much better you'd have done if you hadn't procrastinated. Data shows that people procrastinate more than 50% of things are never done because of procrastination. We've got an app that's going to change that. So bring it home to everyone who's not a student, show some data or something to get you hooked. So that was thing 1. Thing 2 is embrace COVID. So, there was nothing in your deck. The word COVID wasn't mentioned. You mentioned it verbally a couple of times, but I think this is the perfect thing to why now. It should be students are working from home. Procrastination is way bigger problem compared to before. So make your entire deck, not just acknowledge even that COVID exists, make it embrace it. It was thing 2. Thing 3 is you actually didn't talk about your product at all. There was one slide that went by in about 3 seconds, something product, and then you spent all the time looking at your competitors. I think that to me indicates the product isn't there yet, or you're a little embarrassed about it, or you've seen it enough yourself, but we haven't seen it. So what I would do is I would be showing, if these are for students, they've probably got mobile phones, right? So make some mobile graphics that sit in a picture of an iPhone or something like that. Have 3 slides going, here's how we avoid people procrastinating. Number 1, set some tasks. Number 2, next slide, get a reminder. Number 3, there's social pressure, whatever it might be. And then you can go on to the usual quadrant, which is how you're different to your competitors. So the competitor one gets way smaller, your product gets way bigger, because at the end of it, I'm not even sure what the product does. Thing number 4, I think you had these slide headers, and you basically just read the slide header again. So it said, you know, productivity or product or revenue or something. Try and change that into something that gets people hooked, which is, here's our product, here's the roadmap for 2021, here's what we plan to do next, these are our competitors, so that when you are going through the slides, you know, what you don't want to be doing is reading the same thing that we can see in front of us. So draw us into it and make it, as you would say in, I guess, plain English. And then the last thing, I was going to say actually maybe slightly the opposite of Dan, which is your traction was great, but then afterwards your traction went to like the market size. And I think the traction might have been best, well, perhaps right at the beginning, so that people are bought in to see, oh, this is going really well, or use it as the clincher at the end. So you show your revenue, you show the market size, and then you go, and instead of, you know, the traction side saying, you know, just traction or something, it might say, so how are we going? Well, we're going amazingly. It's growing at 40% month on month. We're looking to raise 150K SEIS. This is ASMA, this is IO, whatever it is. These are the team, got our advance assurance. Call me with your email address at the bottom if you're interested to find out more. And I think then that gets people excited and wraps it up. That was it from me.
Perfect. I just had one question. So the reason why we didn't mention COVID so much was that, one, our product came before COVID, and then we had some feedback of when we pitched at the pitch saying that our product might just be limited to COVID, and we wanted to kind of avoid this association that our product won't exist after COVID, because it will. So do you think it's still worth mentioning COVID without
So
people?
yeah,
The
so
competitors existed beforehand.
yeah, I think so. It's a great point. Firstly, I think you can establish in the storytelling, this is a problem that existed forever. You know, it's always, but now you've got a particular growth opportunity thanks to COVID. And the second point, of course, is everyone, myself, Dan, and everyone else will tell you opposite things and as advice. And now your goal is, you know, obviously you can't jump to every bit of advice, and neither is it useful to ignore every bit. So you've got the challenge of picking the ones to run with. And then I think also do, in a sense, A/B testing. So if you have one that is, you know, COVID proof, COVID aware, ready for COVID, whatever, and you get negative feedback from investors, then you might dial that out. So you might look at, in the same way you do A/B testing on product, look at each presentation you do and see, you know, maybe you have to do 2 or 3 to get some sort of coherent feedback, update the slide deck accordingly.
Great, thank you so much.
Great, that's fantastic. Thanks very much. Let's move on for now. Where should we go? Alicia, are you there?
Hello, yes.
Hi, Alicia.
Hi.
From
Thank you.
BOHEME. I will let you carry on. Oh, where have you gone?
Oh God, have I?
That's better. You've gone from back to front to front. That's good.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect.
Thank
Great.
you.
This is my first time pitching, and after all the comments, I know it's far too long, but if you can bear with, it'll be great. Oh, hold on. I can't get to my other screen. Sorry, I'm working on 2 screens here. Sorry, it worked downstairs, but not here. Sorry. I'm going to stop sharing and bring this screen over. Sorry. Okay, let me try and do this again. Let me see if I can do this again. Share. Sorry, I can't seem to flip the pages to the next screen.
If you move your mouse onto your second screen and scroll down on the second screen, the pages may advance there.
Okay, I think, sorry, I had to go right. Sorry, okay, I'm with you. Terribly sorry. Okay, so let me come back here. Oh my goodness. Apologies. Okay, so here I go. Have you ever imagined shoes made from materials such as pineapple leaf fiber, apple skin, natural and recycled and biodegradable materials? Well, imagine no more, because here they are. At BOHEME, we do things differently. We are a purpose-driven business for the people, planet, and animals. We are on a mission for no more boring shoes, but not just any shoes, distinctly designed, beautiful, made from innovative materials, and last but not least, vegan. So I'm Alicia, and I'm founder of BOHEME. I am vegan, and I had set up BOHEME as I could not find vegan footwear for myself that were fashionable, sustainably made, and ethically made. So what's the problem? The fashion industry is a $2.4 trillion industry, and it's growing. And without major changes to the production process and consumption patterns, the social and environmental costs of the sector will continue to mount. The solution. This is where we come in. BOHEME is a circular fashion brand. We use sustainable, natural, and biodegradable and recycled materials to make our shoes. But don't stop us there. We use materials such as apple skin, Veja from the grape industry, Pinatex, which eliminates waste from the food industries too. In addition, I'm super proud to say that I've visited all our factories in Portugal where our footwear is made. We will also seek B Corp certification for our business, where we're legally required to consider the impact of our decision on our workers, customers, suppliers, community, and the environment. We are a proven proposition. We are looking at relaunching our brand, and we have a 15,000 plus global customer base. We have £2 million earnings to date, and we have sold 20,000 pairs of shoes. The team is made up of myself, who's 14 years experience in sustainable footwear, and I have Daryl, Dahlia, Millie, Chris, and Andrew, all covering from marketing to product development, design, and marketing. Is there opportunity? Indeed there is. There are 78 million vegans of us out there, and the global vegan footwear market is worth £21.4 billion. The global vegan fashion market is worth £301 billion, and the three concerns consumers say when they go shopping are plastic pollution, animal welfare, and treatment of workers. We have also identified a gap in the market, which we feel we fill, which is a kick-ass vegan footwear brand with a distinct design flair, made truly sustainable and accessible price point. Our brand aesthetic is our footwear will be beautiful, colorful, feminine, and luxurious. Our designs will be a striking fresh flavor in the current marketplace, which women are looking for. We will offer a continuity collection of mules, flats, and trainers with seasonal drops to introduce excitement and freshness. The continuity collection is a nod to the everyday luxurious comfort of the homebound lifestyle that we live today with the COVID times. We're inspired by, oh God, I've gone too far. Anyway, you can see some of the models that we're inspired by there, and Millie had put together some sketches for us. In regards to our business model, we're looking at a direct-to-consumer brand, and we'll launch 2 collections a year, spring, summer, and autumn, winter. The price ranges between £180 to £310, an average gross margin of 60%. Looking at our growth strategy. Oh God, I've got too fast. Sorry, I'm not doing very well here. Looking at our growth strategy will ensure an amazing customer experience from the first impression to the final click and beyond. Our cost of acquisition, we're looking at $44.11 for year 2022 down to $31.72 in the year 2023. In regards to our financials, I know I've got too much now, but anyway, in year 1, we're focusing on reaffirming our foundations, commencing a target engaging marketing campaign, especially with a focus on the US markets. That's our largest. In year 2, we'll start to see our revenue, which will intensify our marketing. And in year 3, we'll look at near double sales digits achieved, and we'll look at creating maybe a small fashion accessories range, as well as introducing our men's collection. The ask, we're looking for a total of 900,000 K for a 15% equity in the business, and this will ensure exceptional product design, looking at our team, operations, and marketing. We have had rave reviews. We've been featured in much press. We have celebrity followers such as Natalie Portman, Brian Adams, and Dory DeVito. And our customers say that our shoes are exquisite. They look sleek and beautiful, and the quality and craftsmanship is a trademark of our shoes. I hope that you've enjoyed what we like, and if you have any questions, do let me know. Thank you.
Alicia, thanks very much for that. As I say,
sorry, disaster.
look, the whole purpose of this is that there are a couple of investors on here, but that's not the point. The point is, it's here to practice.
Yes.
Once you got going, I thought your opening line was a NILA. That was just perfect.
Okay.
It was out there with some of the best. I then think you should really have just more or less skipped the rest and gone to your last couple of slides, because again, the recommendation and such like, again, with this, you don't need the financials in there.
Sure.
Again, at least, and which I think is great, you had what you're asking for and you had what you're offering. 9 out of 10 decks I see, apart from being too long, we'll come on to some ideas on that later. They go, we're trying to raise X, and that's it. And you think to yourself, well, what for? What is my 50 grand going to get me?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I look at two parts when somebody sends me a pitch deck, whether it's long or short. I'll look at the opening header to see, and yours was fantastic, bang, straight to the point. And then I'll look at the last page to see what you're looking for and what you're asking. And again, that's there. The most of the time, if the heading's not good enough and I'm looking 3-4 pages down the line to see what this actual company is doing, again, I won't even bother looking at the bottom of it.
Sure.
That's just my personal thing, because I get so many pitch decks. But again, I'll open this up to perhaps Anthony or Dan, whoever wants to jump in first.
Thank you.
So thank you. I'll hop in very quickly. Let me start just with the joys of Zoom calls. So by the way, for the first presentation, that was awesome. A couple of things that always are the difference between an amazing presentation, people struggling a bit. Just on the, firstly, of course, we covered the getting the presentation jumping on screen, full screen first up. Next, you've got a particular issue. I love the shoes being shown on screen. Problem is it doesn't work well with the Zoom background, because Zoom's AI is designed to look at faces, and it goes, this is not a face. You're disappearing into the background. So my suggestion is, if you're going to be showing shoes, don't use a Zoom background, because it can't work. Next thing is the audio quality was a bit meh. So get a headset or something like that, so it's loud, people can hear you, they don't need to struggle. Next thing, I think you've got two monitors, one on top of the other, and you're looking upwards. You should always just look at the camera. You should know your slide deck, every slide, so you can be looking at the camera and move the mouse or something, so without taking your eye off the audience, you can see from the corner of your eye your slides, and you don't need to look at them. Then what I was amused is you could see yourself the slides that had too many words on it. You even skipped your own slides, and that's interesting, because it's when you create a deck, you have something in mind, and as you're talking, you can now start seeing what the audience are thinking, and you skipped right past their own slides. So that was good learning for you. Next thing is that you were kind of talking to yourself at some point. Oh my God, no, I'm going to skip the slide. I think that's, avoid that. Sometimes things go wrong, whatever, but it takes people out of the story as soon as you become self-referential. And so if things don't work out, then just keep going with the story and put it as a mental note rather than talk to yourself. So then just a couple of things now, turning to the proposition itself. I think you didn't cover the P&L at all that I saw in an obvious way. And so are you profitable? Are you losing money? I don't know. Next thing is, I have no idea of the durability of the product. So that to me was the key thing I would have been thinking of. I liked how you mentioned, COVID, because maybe it has impacted shoe sales greatly as we totter around the house and don't need fancy shoes. But maybe this is your COVID indulgence to get a shoe, and maybe you're less worried that it's going to work in the rain or not. And then I think last thing from me, which is the amount you're looking to raise. I think you spent like 1 second on it and then went right to the next.
Okay.
And by not valuing that for you, you're not valuing that for me as the investor. And we're looking for X, and I've actually forgotten what you're looking for. So had you stopped and go, and we're looking to raise X amount, I totally don't remember what it was, to get us to the next step of the journey. And here's what your investment is going to get. Firstly, we've got our SEIS and EIS, but we're planning to be, you know, this big in this many years or whatever it might be. And then jump to contact me. And now by spending time on it, you're valuing me as the investor and you're valuing my investment. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
900,000, wasn't it? But it was tagged on at the end.
Yes, yes.
It's a lot for a first raise, if it is your first. So, you know, so just given, if you for a pre-seed round or first round, just Anthony will tell you that, you know, you can always go for another round. And if I've got an opportunity as an angel, I might well do 2 or 3 startups I might invest in for 150, 200K or something else. So, I mean, there might be a good valuation you've done on behind that, but it strikes me as quite a lot at the end of the day. So the opening slide grabs you really, really, really great, by the way. I thought it was fantastic. You know, it's really, really great. Likewise, I like seeing the product. You maybe want to show the product on the screen or something else. There's a lot of cruddy products out there in the kind of vegan footwear space at the end of the day. So getting that up there early on might well catch the attention of someone who thinks, oh, okay, this is worth looking at the end of the day, because it looks fantastic. I mean, I think Anthony's point about how robust it is actually is a very good point, actually. Maybe if you're playing in a more high-end market or something else, which is not so clear, well, kind of, it's what I felt. Maybe it's less relevant at the end of the day. The vegan space, particularly before lockdown, it was like the space at the end of the day, whether it's being made out of coffee beans or bananas or everything else. It was, you know, quite rightly so, it's a growing market at the end of the day. I still, for all the conversation, apart from seeing the product and thinking, oh, they look like a great pair of shoes, good quality, everything else, I still don't know, because obviously there's a lot of text there, what makes you different than anyone else. Other than you're probably using, you know, so yeah. I don't know how. You may be using some product which is not very ecological friendly, being shipped in from far in the Amazon, you know, but it's still classed as vegan at the end of the day. So I still don't know, you know, I think there's a lot more on the nuts and bolts of what makes us different, which is really, I want to see at the end of the day. As so much text in the you know, and you only need to get, it's most important is just get 2 or 3 nuts and bolts of what's the main problems, the main solutions. This isn't going to be a due diligence at the end of the day. I saw the team slide, and great. It's like we've got, you know, this person, they're all great. And I was a bit, so what? It could have had anyone there. I didn't feel there was, think about what investors are looking at. They were looking at is the board, you know, because startups, you know, their CEOs go and everything else. They're thinking governance and boring stuff at the end of the day. So you maybe got a great chairman that's in place, or a great exec team, as well as the, you know, yourself and, you know, your CTO and CFO. So think about all the dull stuff. You're going to cover it as well. You know. Financials. I like to see financials, even if you know, even if it's just headline financials. I don't need to know how much you're spending on office admin. I don't need to do that in your opening deck. Yeah. So, I saw that you're relaunching your brand.
Yes, we are.
Right. So a very good reason. It just screamed to me there's something wrong with the brand at the moment.
No. So my last collection was autumn winter 18. I've actually had the brand on pause for a year. It was a combination of the brand being self-funded, and we had an investor, but it didn't quite work out, and sort of a personal issue that I had to deal with. So I've had to pause
whatever.
it.
Don't give opportunity at this stage for any alarm bells, even if
fine.
It will be there's a very good reason you're relaunching it. Very valid, you know, and things were perfectly fine before.
Fine.
Other than that, best of luck, by the way. The product itself, you know, aesthetically looks fantastic.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Elise, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
If you can stop sharing your screens or what you're doing, thanks. Now we're going to go, Abby from BOMADU, are you there? Not by the sounds of it. Dan, I know you're there. Get GIGL.
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
I can indeed. I will go silent and let you carry on.
Excellent, thank you. I tell you, I'm not going to miss having to ask that question many, many times. And can you all see my screen correctly?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And Neil, also thank you for hosting us today. Basically, my name is Dan Hudson. I am the CEO, one of the co-founders of GIGL, and welcome to our seed investment presentation. In a nutshell, recruitment is rubbish. And we're on a mission to make recruitment fast, friendly, and fun. I'm sure lots of you guys have hired for yourselves. Myself, my own personal background is within recruitment for over 15 years. I know the space very, very well. In a nutshell, in the region of approximately, for companies, in the region of approximately 30 to 35% of all of your applications don't even know who you are as a company. And in the region of between 28 and 30% don't even want to work for you. The reason they don't want to work for you is because due to government legislation, it means that if they apply to jobs, they can collect their benefits. The result is, if you get 100 CVs, 65%, between 60 and 65% of them won't know who you are and don't want to work for you. So what GIGL does is change that issue completely. For candidates, finding jobs today is really, really hard. You know, this is partly down to COVID, but partly down to a really tough working environment, a tough job environment, COVID, Brexit, etc. People get their jobs today based on a CV. It's short for curriculum vitae. It's Latin. It's so out of date. It's absolutely ridiculous. So that's basically the problems. Companies get too many candidates that are incorrect, and candidates don't really get a feel for the company, and it's a very inefficient and outdated application process. So we've built GIGL. In a nutshell, GIGL is a recruitment tech platform for companies who rely on hiring engaged, customer-facing, customer-focused staff. These companies currently get on average approximately 300 applications per role. It's just an unmanageable number. GIGL cuts through this number to get to the circa 35% who are highly engaged and ultimately really want the job. At the same time, we increase the efficiency of the interview process by up to 80%. The difference is we use video and mobile first technology to make recruitment fast, friendly, and fun. I can go on, but I'm just going to show you what GIGL is in action. Can you hear this okay?
No, we can't hear.
I can't hear anything here, Dan.
Okay, bear with me 1 second. Sorry, bear with me 1 second.
Yeah.
Hello guys, my name is Anna. I work as a system manager in the North Face we are looking for a person very passionate about outdoor, high engagement in customer service, and love to help people. I would like to know what does the North Face mean for you, and 3 points by yourself that fit our team. So speak a little bit more about yourself and let me know.
Good evening, my name is Sanchez Bankroll. Some of my past retail experience includes working for John Lewis and work for House of Fraser. 3 relevant skills I believe I can bring to your store include number 1.
I love dealing with customers, and I believe I have a calm approach when dealing with them and under pressure.
I speak English, French, Arabic, Mandarin Chinese, and sign language.
I think that I have quite a bit of relevant work experience due to the fact that I've been working at Black's Outdoor Retail, which do stock a lot of textiles and footwear of North Face products.
Okay, it's gone now.
Do you want me to come now?
It's gone.
Oh,
it's
shit.
fine.
What was it?
It was super cool. It's gone. Because this person was presenting.
Is there a recording of the presentation?
Can you hear me okay?
Can you guys, whoever's talking, mute your mics, please? To answer your question, yes, there is a recording going on.
Perfect. So hopefully you can now hear me again. So basically, in a summary, that's what GIGL is, and that's GIGL it in action. We launched just over 12 months ago. With regards our traction to date, we have over 20,000 downloads. We have 45 plus companies in trial with GIGL. We've grown dramatically through organic activities, and we've had over 400 jobs posted to date. And here's an example of some of the great companies that we've had or we have currently in trials with us right now. And then looking at things like our pipeline and customer testimonials, we've progressed and come a really long way. And this is, yes, it's challenging right now in the COVID situation. However, one of the things that we've unintentionally seen is there's actually the consumption of video has gone through the roof, which is a huge thing for GIGL. And really right now, GIGL is not just the fastest way, but also the safest way to run your recruitment process. We have a really strong founding team that combines market industry expertise, marketing expertise, technical expertise, sales expertise. And for example, Sam, our head of engagement, his world is to target specifically Generation Z. So he lives and breathes this space, and he is Generation Z himself. So we have a really strong team, and it's a strong foundation with which to take this business forward. Touching very briefly upon the market share, sorry, the market size, the market's massive. We're talking potentially every company out there, how they look at their recruitment, what they do from their recruitment, etc. What I would say is how we're specifically targeting short to medium term is sub 25. And what we view this as is sub £25 an hour, sub 25 years old. That's the market that we are specifically going out to target. I can touch upon competition very briefly. I get this occasionally from interested parties, who are your competition? What other video platforms are out there? Yes, the reality is there are some other video platforms out there. Everyone does it slightly different. The truth is that that's like 2% of the market. The other 90%, 98% of the market is dominated by the CV, it's dominated by agencies, and it's dominated by something called "this is how we do it today." So that's really the site of the market that we're targeting very heavily. Our competitive advantage, video is at the basis of what we do. We're a perfect solution for remote hiring. We've got really, really strong Generation Z engagement, and we're completely changing the recruitment process. So taking out telephone screening, taking out first round interviews. A lot of our clients actually go straight from the video to final round interview or trial shift. So we're really, really driving efficiencies in the process. Our business model, we have 2 parts to it: a SaaS platform based around monthly subscriptions, and then a pay-as-you-post, which is basically a gateway drug for very small, for small, medium-sized companies. We give them an entry point into the platform, and then we really sell hard. So we have some additional revenue streams that we're going to be looking at going forward, including white labels, etc. To date, we've been completely self-funded. We've built the whole platform. We've created over 20,000 downloads completely off our own back. Now we're out in the market looking to raise £1 million. To date, we have 245 of it committed. The purpose of this is really to drive GIGL 2.0, which is a massive increase in our technology capabilities, drive our marketing, and really kind of build the foundations for our sales activities going forward. If you have any questions, please let me know, or you can contact me here. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Dan. Anybody would like to comment there? Anthony, would you?
Yeah, I'll hop in quickly. So Dan, that was a really great presentation. Thank you. So a couple of things. I loved the start. I think it started really, really well. And then you ran into some technical things. So, you know, you hooked us all, or at least me, with the recruitment is rubbish. You know, so anyone who's hiring knows that it's an absolute pain. And I think there's something to be had there. I think that you kind of jumped ultimately the gist of it when you showed your competitors. And I think maybe, you know, my web developers talk about mobile first, or the UX designers talk about mobile first. What if you were to say this is the only video first platform for recruitment? Others may offer video. This is entirely tuned around video. And then I think you'd also jumped in, is about, you know, younger people, probably more for customer facing jobs. If I'm looking to hire Java developers, I'm not sure that, you know, their video presence would be awesome. So now a couple of things. Firstly, one, you discovered another point about Zoom presentation, which is that videos don't work that well. So if you want to show a video, prep beforehand, and I can see you on a Mac or whatever, you have to set your settings so that the audio gets taken from the video. The video frame rate doesn't really work when Zoom rebroadcasts the video. So if you do want to use a video presentation, definitely prep it beforehand, set your settings. You may not be able to preset your settings, so you may need to have them very quickly, you know exactly which buttons to push to change your speaker inputs or your sound inputs. The next thing is your deck. Minor thing was a deck that was designed, you were showing it on air, but you designed it to be sent to somebody, because at one point you had the, you know, click here to meet the team. This shows that you're repurposing a different deck, and it's little things like that that jump out. The next thing is that you had a couple of screens, which was the problems for the company and the problems for the candidates. And I think throughout we see that there are too many words. So you were trying to do on one screen, probably to try and limit the overall number of screens. But you had these two side-by-side problems for companies, problems for candidates, and nobody would read that. Imagine you put it on two screens, and there you had problems for candidates, and you had a person with a mobile phone, you know, doing this, whatever it is. You now bring it to life. And problems for companies, there's someone sitting at a desk and their computer, and there's like an endless pile of things. You know, avoid stock imagery, go to unsplash.com, where you can get a Creative Commons license to, for zero money, some really nice graphics to put in there. And I think the presentation could have come to life with some graphics, because it's easy, you've got candidates looking. What worked amazingly was on the video, where you suddenly got it, right? So how can you integrate the video, avoid the problems of the technology around seamlessly having it play? And then I think productizing it and showing screenshots, I think more of the product and how it's used today. And I think very last one, if you're looking to raise $1 million, that would imply a sort of 5 million pre-money valuation. And in order to do that, you definitely have your work cut out, justifying to investors. You know, you might be looking at, if you're doing more than 50K a month, that's 500, 600K a year, that might imply a 5 mil valuation. If you're at that point, great. If you're not yet at that point, then you've got your work cut out justifying the valuation. So you might want to tie the revenues and that raise size more closely together so that people go, ah, your revenue earning, this now makes sense for the raise. That's it from me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Great feedback. Appreciate it.
Dan, are you still about?
Yeah, I'm still about. Yeah.
Very good. Good on you, sir. Any comment? No, the other Dan, not that Dan, the other Dan. Dan 2, Dan 1.
Great advice on the from Anthony on the the amount you're trying to raise. I thought that, but maybe you can tie that in also to, you've got some great clients there as well, so maybe that justifies it. Or equally, if you're profitable as well. I don't remember seeing a financial slide, but maybe I looked away when I was making some notes. But are you profitable at the moment?
No, so that we didn't put a financial slide in. I would love to know your views on if we should put a financial slide in and a projection slide, because some people say yes, some people say no. So
you don't necessarily have to put like a full massive table with how many coffee machines. I mean, even if you could just state something, there might be an opportunity just to state somewhere how much your turnover, your bank, your cash flow, that kind of thing, and your EBIT or something would be quite, might, if it's a strong story that it's going to grab attention, if it's at the end of the day, this is hook, if it's going to maybe put people off, or there's a story behind it or something, then maybe it's not appropriate at the end of the day. There's a marketing exercise on your point at the end of the day. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're certainly going to try and raise a lot of money, a lot of cash, your cash flow and your profitability is going to be very important here.
Cool, thank you.
Unless there's a really good, and also what you're going to spend that money on. The overall deck, really good, very visual. I mean, it needs a lot of tweak. There's lots of tweaking that can go on. You can spend your whole life doing decks, and actually most startups do, it would seem. So overall, it's a great deck. It's generally it's clarity. There's a lot of clarity there and everything else. I thought it was really good. When you were talking about the problem slide, I don't think you need to spend that long. There's a few important messages that you need to get home, I think. Because the deck did come to life at the end of the day. It's the solution slide I thought was very good. It was clear and everything else. It gets a bit interesting. It got interesting at that point, and then it got, the actual product demo really worked. Sometimes videos can be really, a bit of a put off if they're not good. It actually was quite good. If you get the whole audio piece sorted out and everything else, it's going to be a lot more engaging. So I guess the one thing there was a question mark for me regarding, so what's stopping someone else doing this? Why you? Great, you've got a bit of a start going on. So or is it you've got some great brand value you've created at the end of the day? Because it's now becoming a lot easier to just knock up a video kind of platform and anything else. So it's yes, you've got competitors. Yes, you maybe got the march. What's stopping them getting ahead of the march as well?
So some kind of highlighting the defensibility of it. Okay, cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
If you've got something, if you can, And the other thing is, look passionate when you're speaking. You kind of got into it more in the end, but there was a degree of you come across as someone who knows your stuff, but maybe you as if this was maybe another day in the office. Don't come across like that. Come across as this is where you want to be. This is what you're believing. If obviously you've not done your presentation too many times, there's a degree of you want to get it right, not necessarily jumping around everything all the time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if I can hop in, I think that then that's nothing particular with Dan, but often you'll see founders going, oh, I need to rush through this. I've done another one. I've done thousands of these, but everyone has to be like, you're special. This is all for you. This is immensely valuable. If it feels that it's rote or that you've done it thousands of times or it's another one you're doing, your investors will treat it accordingly. So this is your one time to get your story like no one's ever heard it before.
Yeah, there's a big numbers game at the end of the day when you're speaking with angels and speaking with VCs, and you have to remind yourself every time these are not going to have seen these before. So have your little script in your head, give yourself 30 seconds to just take a breath, remind yourself this is fresh for them, and you want to come across as exciting as an investable, and just you're not another deck.
Perfect. Anthony, can I just ask you one quick question?
Sure.
You said about splitting the problem slide. That's for the presentation. In the investor deck, would you do the same?
Yes. So one of the challenges you have is when a slide deck, is it designed, will the investor reliably see the deck while you're talking, or will they say, send me the deck afterwards, or and then go through it without you verbalizing it? So I think you may have two versions of your deck. One of them is just beautiful graphics, some big bold statements used as the background while you're talking, and the other one designed as a standalone that without you presenting, it needs to work on its own. But even so, people have got short attention spans. People don't read very much. All the Hotjar tracking of our website shows that people didn't read the big text, so we just got big bold things on the website because those are the things that people read. And for example, on the financials, anytime it looks like an Excel spreadsheet, you've just zoned out. But if the financials had a graph that goes up, ideally exponentially, but shows, 3x year-on-year growth. This year we plan to do 1 million. Next year we're going to do 3 million. The next year 8 million. That visualizes it, and it's a few small, powerfully presented numbers that I think is the clincher.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, folks. Right, we're going to move on, and we've got Abby's joined us from BOMADU. Is that correct? Have I pronounced that right?
Yes, Neil, you're absolutely correct. Thank you.
Okay, I'll let you carry on. Introduce your pitch. Cheers.
Thank you. Please to confirm that you can see my screen.
We see the screen share, but we don't see you. Can you turn on video?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Apologies. I believe you should.
Okay, and perhaps turn your volume up a little bit as well. Maybe it's just me.
Any better?
Looks good. Perfect.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abi Elohim. I'm the CEO and the founder of BOMADU. BOMADU is the abbreviated word for Bank of Mom and Dad United. The aim is to provide 100% deposit loans for first-time buyers that are struggling to get onto the property ladder. So my story is making home ownership a reality for young people. That's my vision. The reason is because not everyone can rely on Bank of Mom and Dad when purchasing their first home. As the founder who has gone through it or was going through it, the challenge myself, and I haven't seen the magnitude of the problem, I have put my home ownership dream on hold to create BOMADU, and just putting what I could have used as my own deposit into developing and creating BOMADU, which is Bank of Mom and Dad United. The point is to help young people or first-time buyers who do not have access to wealthy parents or rich friends that could assist with the deposit, so that they would not have to go through the same pain that I'm going through now or any other young person will go through. BOMADU will enable equal access to home ownership across the UK by making fair and ethical deposit funding a reality for first-time buyers without rich families. How big is the problem? Very huge. And this is because home buyers are finding it increasingly difficult to raise necessary deposits to buy their first home, because the gap between the first home purchase price and the mortgage is constantly increasing. Thereby, it's making it difficult for first-time buyers to come up with a deposit that they need. And also lack of housing equality, which is currently at about 39%. First-time buyers received either support from their family members or parents in order to be able to get onto the property ladder. So the problem is quite huge. The solution we are proposing is to help first-time buyers afford their first home quicker, in a way that you can say like, well, buy now and continue to save for the deposit that you would rather do in order for you to be able to buy the home that may later on cost you more. What we're going to offer with the solution is the financial education and coaching for individual basis, which will be supported by artificial intelligence that will be built into the application, into the product we'll be bringing out. This product will also enable smart saving for the repayment of the loan that we will be providing to first-time buyers. Who are our customers? A typical customers for us are a couple that are struggling to buy their home due to increasing property prices, looking for a way to afford deposits on their first home. Parents that have little wealth to provide financial support for their children or for their kid. Currently, they're renting, which makes it even difficult in order to save for deposit that they need to buy their first home. How big is the market? Very big. At the moment, first-time buyers, per year in the UK, equivalent of 16 billion deposits in value. The addressable market that for us is around 200,000, which is approximately 57% of the market. Now we'll be going for about 14% of this, which will equate to 26,600 by year 2024, which is about in 5 years' time. Mortgage deposit assistance provided by family members and friends in the UK, equivalent to about £5 billion yearly in the UK. Now, our revenue model is quite simple and straightforward. From the lending part of it, the average deposit in the UK is about 46,000. We lend £23,000 will be the interest on it that we will lend, payable after 5 years, fixed. By year 2024, 5 years time, we aim to have £680 million in annual revenue. This is what the market looks like at the moment. BOMADU will be the only one to provide home deposits with no having to save first time, but you'll be able to save through buying the home, then get a financial education, then provide for it later on. Here's our development roadmap. The team was formed in August last year. To date, we are about to do the trial in February, where we're going to launch our banking the current account, provision of current account with a solution with the platform that we'll be launching. That will enable us to then go to market fully by end of April this year really. And by 2023, we aim to have a full banking license that will enable us to be able to do more of the lending to our customers. Here is the team. Myself, I'm the CEO and the co-founder with a CFO holder of Chartered Insurance, and Akiva, the co-founder, Davies, the CTO, and Chris Jones, and ex-banker of Tech Accelerator CEO. The investment opportunity, what we're seeking for is £300,000 for the value of 50% that will enable us to complete the product development, which we have started and will be launching in March already, and also to help us complete our regulatory license, which is required to begin to trade it. Part of it also covers sales and marketing as well as operational. This will enable us to have a 6-month burn rate, and we aim to have another run by May this year for £750,000. Yes, we are passionate about this business. It's because it's an experience I personally am going through it. I know what it is like for young people or any person to buy their first home in the UK. It's been a struggle and it's been a challenge, and this is what I want to put an end to it. Thank you. Any questions, please?
Thanks. Who would like to jump in there?
I'll go quickly, and then I have to hop off the call. So
sure, Anthony. Thanks very much.
So Abby, that you can stop screen sharing, by the way.
Okay.
So that was a really, really nice slide deck. So super impressive. I think the presentation wasn't quite up to the slide deck. So the slide deck is beautifully colored, it breathes, it's nicely done step by step. The presentation was quite rushed. And so just to go back to the too many words, I think if I share my screen briefly. So looking at your deck, I took a screen grab. So this was the making home ownership a reality. The problem is when you have a slide like this, you begin reading your own words, and then the person's going, he's reading what's on screen. Imagine that you turned it into a story and brought it to life and went, this is my first house. By the way, I just Googled the house. I have no idea if this is a multi-million house in Mayfair or not. But so imagine instead you showed this house going, I used to walk past this house. I used to dream of this house. And then I went to NatWest and they told me, get lost. You don't, come back in 87 years time. And so, mum and dad went to them and they went, dude, you've got to be crazy. So then I had this idea, and now you'd probably have brought it to life in a way that hadn't been brought to life with all of the words. I think the next thing, very briefly from me, is that when you're looking at a presentation, your eye is drawn to every item on screen. And so everything has to have meaning or it's a distraction. And on your roadmap, for example, you've got this sort of swirly line with arrows going up and things. And while you try to tell us about your roadmap, I'm looking at the swirls, which are like a Chinese dragon. So I think the roadmap would just be a simple line going upwards that says 2021, 2, 3, 4, or whatever it is, the key milestones, and then it's all aligning, and remove anything that is extraneous. And for the most part, your deck does that brilliantly. I think that slide sort of jumped out, and a couple with a few more words. But I think the gist of it for me is that the deck told a story really nicely, and I think the presentation with a little more practice will get to the breathe that the deck does in the presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks, that's great. Dan, any comments, sir?
Yeah, I mean, actually, there was a lot of questions that I kept on thinking about throughout your deck. Like, you're going to open a current account before you do a deposit account, and therefore surely you're going to need a, you know, a financial, a regular banking license and everything else. So I mean, I was lots of boring questions, and then I kept on thinking about you burning through 300K within 6 months. That seemed a lot of money considering where you are pre-launch, and you know, either you need to put that detail in there, or I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of question marks I kept on thinking about. And yeah, as Anthony points out, that story about the My Story. I mean, actually, what you were saying at the verbal overlay you were providing wasn't so bad, but the actual providing all that text was not necessary. And then you go on to the problem, which was really a repeat of what your own personal story was. So maybe you could have combined it with one, or give something like the story about the house story that Anthony mentions as well. So I kind of sense you need to do another overview of your deck and make it a little bit more emotive and a little bit more engaging, because you're dealing with a rather dry subject at the end of the day, of banking at the end of the day. I still, but nonetheless, there's still question marks, you know, that you talk about all your competition, but I'm still not very sure, but you're going to provide 100% deposit. So I was wondering how you're going to make, what your commercial model was as well. So which is, you know, if you're going to kind of important when you're trying to go to investors at the end of the day. So there's still, I think you need to do an overview and maybe pass it by someone who's maybe not involved on it day to day, and ask them their view on to work with you, I think, at the end of the day.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much, Abby. Now, have we got Adam from Niceable here? No. Okay. Jeff from Human People, are you about?
Hi, yes, I am.
Ah, good news. Right. Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
I'll mute my mic and I'll let you carry on. There we go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jeff Ballin. I'm CEO and founder of Human People, which is a seasons supplement business. And we exist to really shake up how supplements work. We're doing it in a different way and better than we think any other company in the world. So why do people take supplements? Because there's a lot of us do take them. 56% of UK adults took a supplement. And the reason is, I think it's probably hope, isn't it? We all want to feel a little bit better. You know, that brain fog, that poor sleep. We all know a friend who's taken this amazing supplement. It's been life-changing for them. But actually, for when we take that supplement, it you know, it hasn't done anything. And so there's this massive confusion. You know, what should I take? You know, what's the good supplement out there that I need to take in the first place? And what dose do I take? What brand do I take? And although there's lots of good supplements out there, the answer is it's actually very difficult to get the right one. And I know this, we run some functional medicine clinics, and to nail this with our clients in clinic can take a couple of hours. It can take a lot of testing to really nail down what is it that's missing. And statistics show that 98% of people have a deficiency of some sort. So it can work, it's just making it work. The answer to how you actually make this work, you've got to really target it. And targeting doesn't mean asking, an online questionnaire, what do I need to give me the answer? That's really not much more than going to a pretty good healthcare assistant who can tell you, well, actually, if you're feeling tired, you could take X. But how do I know that's actually built for me? And we think we have built the answer through technology. It involves home testing, so you don't need to go in anywhere. We use DNA analysis. We've got software that will read most common DNA kits, like 23andMe. We have our own kits as well. Gut analysis. In our research, found that people were enormously interested in knowing, all the stuff about gut. There's not even companies out there that will match your gut analysis to the right probiotic for you. It's one of the few things that we do. We also look at really important blood markers as well. So it's the ones that we know that we can affect. And then we do tie this in with a very kind of well-developed questionnaire that has a lot of machine learning and AI built into it as well. So we don't stop there. We work out what you need, but then we also deliver it to you. So we have a robotic packaging machine that will take what supplements you actually need, put into a little daily pack. That's sent off every month. You subscribe to to Human People, and it arrives on the month, so it's easy for you to take. Because one of the other big problems is bottle fatigue. Apart from the environmental impact of having 6 bottles, most people just get bored of opening 6 bottles or whatever it is they need to take a day. We don't stop there. We monitor it. We've got a very neat blood taking device. It takes a little click and takes your blood, that gets sent off. That's retested, that's fed into the algorithm again, comes up with new answers. And that changes by season, it changes by sex. And we also allow you to choose what is the area that you really want to focus on. It may well be someone's menopause, it may be someone's sports athlete, and all those different people want different things. And pricing comes to cost of a cup of coffee a day, £85 for 4 weeks. Each of the separate tests costs £150. And so what are we actually trying to fix? I'm just giving you one example. Vitamin D, massively important current times. We know that if your vitamin D is in the optimal range, your risk of death from coronavirus is reduced by 50%. And the studies have shown that actually, if it's in that optimal range, your risk of death on a day-to-day is reduced by 30%, which is enormous. So how do you get there? So in our pilot, when we actually ran it, there's enormous different ranges. I don't even see the pink triangles, but that's what people were like beforehand. And there's lots of different ways to get them into the optimal range. So the buy a bottle of X and just take it doesn't work, because you also need to take the right combination. You need to look at your magnesium, your B12, your K2 to take these things safely. Too much is unhealthy, too little doesn't work. So how do you actually fix it? Who do we have behind the team? We've got very good tech. We've got full stack engineer, and we also have outsourced to South Africa as well. Alex, who's a PhD in metaphysics. We've recently brought on Karen Kidd, who's head of brand and marketing for Cafe Nero, and she was also previously head of marketing for Nuffield Health. Christine Bailey is multi-award-winning nutritional therapist, probably the leading functional nutritional therapist in the UK. And we also have Henry, who's ex-management consultant, who's helping us run the business, as well as some of the advisory team that we also have. It's not my first time at doing this. I set up some cosmetic skin clinics some time ago. I still own half of that. I've stepped away from that business, but we've got a very strong profile. We were being voted the best cosmetic clinic at Tatler. We have a very large database. Average spend in our clinic is £408, exactly the demographic that we've started to reach out to already. We've got a pretty good media presence already in a lot of the main, both online and offline media. Revenue, because it's a subscription basis, we are looking to, in year 1, what we need is 60 people per month on average to hit an annual recurring revenue of almost £1 million, which we would then ramp up in year 2 and year 3. We've got a healthy LTV to CAC ratio built in there as well. Investment, what do we need? We've built most of the products already. Human People is actually a rebrand. We ran our MVP under a different brand, and so launching that into the marketplace, we need some key hires, the marketing sales plans that we've got ready to implement. We do have EIS advanced insurance already. And also we're building in the technology side of things, which is really the key difference to our business. We're adding in some machine learning, and with that, we need to build up our tech team. So disruptive, the market's enormous already, but it's not even just people who take supplements at the moment, it's people who want to improve their health. At the moment, the health span in the UK is 62 years, and health span is the length of time you live before you have one significant disease. Our mission is to increase that health span. We want to not only live to long age, we want to live healthily in long age. The timing is good, it's a hot area, personal health is growing, home health, people are invested in their own health, and there's all significant investment in this area. It's disruptive. We want to move it from most people sit at home trying to work out what they need to an evidence-based approach. And the whole multi-bottle approach, we want to move away from that to personalized packaging. Many people think the high street's certainly on its way out, and so those health stores, what's going to happen to them in the future? So takeaway messages. Personalization is not a questionnaire. It's an awful lot more than that. And that is why we've tied all of this together, why you need to get that granular detail to really get the best effects. As I mentioned, the multi-bottle approach in the past, we've tested what we've done. We've run our successful MVP. It's unique, it's highly effective. 100% of people in our study had a positive effect after using Life 1000. To do that, we're seeking, as I mentioned, 800K to launch nationally and to scale up our business. Thank you. Any questions?
Hi, Jeff. Thanks very much. I'm not sure if Anthony's still around, but if you are, have you got anything? Yes, you are. Sorry.
Yeah, and then I'm going to drop off right after this. So,
right, sure. Well, thanks very much, Anthony. And again, we'll put all the details out to everybody, and I'll drop you a line later on.
Right. So thank you, Jeff. You've clearly done this before. That was a beautifully paced, measured. I think we were
my first time actually.
I'm not quite sure I'm ready to invest, but I think you've got everyone on the call wanting to buy some of your products. So it was good. I think the key thing that was missing for me was to understand exactly what it was. And I think I'm still not quite sure. So here's my stream of consciousness. As you started, I was thinking, you know, are you a factory making these things? Are you supplying, you know, Whole Foods or, you know, Holland and Barrett or something? And then partway through, I learned that there's some app and you've got a software engineer, but I've still seen nothing to indicate what it was. So for me, I'd like to see a picture of a mobile phone with an app and you do something, then that will bring it to life. And I think also then to establish right at the beginning what the proposition is. So Human People is an app and an optional test kit that changes the way you do something. So that's one is it's all about, in this case, not about your presentation, which is perfect, but it was about establishing what is the proposition. I think you can also do more about the fact that personalized medicine is one of the hot tech areas right now. So jump into that a little bit more. I think you've got a bold assertion that it reduces COVID deaths by 50%, which means that it's about the same as the Oxford vaccine, but you're definitely going to have people wanting to pick up on that one. Then you might, as a joke, you know, have supplements as a service or something, that your new SaaS model. But I think one last thing, which is that this is the first presentation we've seen, which as I recall, has mentioned LTV and CAC. So for those who aren't aware of those terms, CAC is your customer acquisition cost and LTV is your lifetime value. So remember, right at the beginning of this presentation, I said your best bet in terms of showing traction is to show revenue. And if you can't do that, show users. And if you can't do that, show partnerships. And if you can't do that, show development. So LTV and CAC establish that you're at the point that you have got customers, you've worked out how much it costs you to acquire a customer and how much you're getting from the customer. And by showing your investor that you understand and have measured these two, how much does it cost me and how much do I get, means your business is now ready for scaling. So it means you've got a proposition to sell. And if the investor gives you lots of money, you can acquire more customers and make more from each customer than it costs you to acquire. And that's essentially how Uber or, you know, WeWork or whatever got billions. Whether they delivered on is slightly different, but that is your, you know, ultimate metric that gets you in front or gets a VC to take your call. So your goal is to get that point, and if you are at that point, then of course show that you're there, because it shows that maturity. So that was nicely done on that. So again, my wrap up on this is I liked all pieces, but I wasn't quite sure what it exactly is.
Okay. Thank you.
And now I need to run. Thank you so much, everyone. And if you've got any questions, you can drop me a note, Anthony@seedlegals.com.
Thanks very much, Anthony. Take care. Dan, do you have any comments?
Yeah, it was a nice paced presentation overall, and you've given as much thought into the verbal overlay, I kind of thought, which was distinct and separate from the deck as the deck itself. So I thought that was kind of, you know, it provided additional information. I thought it enriched the whole presentation without just repeating, which a lot of people tend to do, I think, on the whole. I thought, you know, good example of when to show nice financial slides, as well as, you know, it might switch some people off, but the fact you've got the graph in there really helps as well. And, you know, it's kind of relevant. I think Anthony's right. I kind of had to fill the gaps in on what you did on the value proposition. I think you've got one slide you talked through a long time. Maybe it needs splitting up. I think that was the one that's the early slide, when it's the human protect slide, I think it was. So maybe it either needs breaking up or into a few slides, maybe like a value slide, and then, you know, a little bit about why us and the cleverness going on with the machine learning and everything else. Maybe that's one way to do it. But as someone who's gone through the whole journey with magnesium and vitamin D and everything else, I went on a health kick 2 years ago, lost a load of weight, but also was taking supplements. I can totally buy into this, and it is a great time at the moment to be doing it. It's been a great time past few years, but you know, even so more with the whole COVID thing. So the whole personalized medicine is right on, and I think if you can chip that in early on, you'll get people waking up quite early on, I think. There was a change of, you could be fussy here, there was a change of style in the slides at some point where it looked like you made some changes. So and maybe early on you could have a bit of design work. But if this deck, I see so many decks, so it is boring that I'm not going to remember the plain one with the green slides. So if you want to use personalized iconography and everything else, I mean, that's why I've got a team designing decks, because most of the time it's about personalized branding, and everything else is what you're going to remember. So even if you do a relatively cheap, lightweight branding on the elements you cover on the deck, it's what people are going to remember at the end of the day. So as well as the content within it. Overall, I thought it was really great. I think questions, I guess you're at the stage almost where investors are going to be asking those next stage questions, like, fulfillment and execution capability. Can you manage demand? All that kind of stuff, all the boring stuff, intellectual property, that kind of stuff. And if you could, so maybe, but anything that kind of, but I think you've got enough to tease them to say, let's have a conversation. And I think that was what you're doing already.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. Thank you.
Jeff, that's great. Thanks very much. I'm not sure who we still got on. Endology, Tom, are you about? Looks like that's not the case. Adam from Niceable, we've established you not around. That's who I've got down for today. Is there any other company out there that has got a pitch they want to run through quickly? Oh, hi.
Yes, say biking if you want.
Hi, and I've got a presentation, that's all right, if there's spots I'd like to run.
Yep, sure.
Great.
I think, I don't know if it's Philippe or someone else, but we got Darth Vader on at some point that was trying to speak, was it?
Great, all right, I'll get that up, thank you.
Okay, lovely, thanks.
Let me share my screen now. Can you see my screen?
Oh, yeah.
Great. Not letting me screen. Okay, let me try again. That should work. Okay, brilliant. Can I see my screen now?
Yep.
Great. I'm going to start. Hi, my name is Rayma. I am the co-founder of STRYKIN Live, the community-centered live marketplace. So we are a live shopping experience that's bringing together the small business community. So on STRYKIN, you can tune in, chat, and shop to support your favorite independent businesses. So think of it as QVC for Gen Z generation featuring small businesses. So we've got a team that's quite unlikely, but perfect to make this dynamic people-centered platform. My co-founder, Theo, is the technical lead and has worked in startups before, and I'm a psychiatrist with psychology and conversion optimization background. And we've both come together to combine our skills and understanding of people and technology to make STRYKIN live. So sellers are actually unable to communicate the quality, authenticity, and the stories behind the products they make in a traditional e-commerce platform of long lists. Customers find it quite difficult to pick out the products and sellers with real value from the long list of items. So we have created STRYKIN to help customers get a deeper understanding of products, sellers to tell the stories behind the things they've made, and to promote conscious shopping and shopping small. So this is our platform. You can go straight to it, no download, no sign up on StrykinLive.com. And what we actually do is putting in a lot of different mechanisms to help people shop live in a very real way. So you've got a live video, you've got a presenter there, and she's kind of speaking to you and enticing the customers to come and purchase. That kind of personal connection and element creates a lot of buzz and understanding of the person behind the product and spurs people on to buy. We've also got other cool mechanisms like live product updates, real-time basket updates, and purchase notifications. And all these things work on things like gratification, works on reward systems, and also works by something that we call social proof. So when you see that little notification coming up that someone else has bought something, you're really likely to buy something. And we've seen this happen in a lot of other streams. So it's quite a large market opportunity. So according to the Etsy investor deck, we've got a 76 billion global TAM, and the UK craft market has a total market size of 3 billion. Of this, 1 billion of the market size is online. So STRYKIN is a good chance to capture a good proportion of this market, and not just capture the online sales, because we're using live stream to bring a real live shopping experience. We also have the opportunity to capture some of the real life market and bring it online. We sit in a really unique position between live streaming, which is really booming right now, as everyone knows from 2020, and small business marketplaces to really further small business and shopping small in a technological generation. We've got first mover advantage in the UK in a platform in live streaming that's rapidly growing. Very easy to use. You just type in the website and you get straight there. No download, no apps, nothing in the way between you and the great big buy button. We're quite community focused in how we grow. We've been running a lot of marketplaces, combining a lot of different small businesses, and hence we get different groups together, and that helps us grow further and sell more. The data that we get in not just live video consumption, also shopping and what people like to buy, help us retarget campaigns in the future. Our go-to-market plan is to start with creators who will engage and grow the community. So we've onboarded sellers via things like Instagram, Facebook, and Etsy, and we've also partnered with different markets and small business networks. This has been really, really good during COVID. We had a lot of markets that couldn't run during the festive period that used STRYKIN to come on in a live market shopping place. And in this way, we're building a hub of different creators that are selling live on STRYKIN and engaging customers. We take 15% plus 20p commission on each sale. And this is a little bit about our traction. So last year we've kind of grown this platform in over a year with a team of 2. We've run 50 streams and really started beginning to gain strong traction in the last few months. We've got an average basket size of £19.78 and a really strong conversion rate of 8%. Some of our really niche streams, what we figured out, get really high conversion, on-site conversion rates of as high as 23% in an eco market. So this is a bit about financial projections. Our projections for year 2 is we're going to be running hopefully 5 streams a day, and that will help us hit an annual revenue of £600,000 approximately. And by year 5, we look to hitting 500 streams a day. That gives you the revenue over there. So as our number of streams goes, if we're maintaining the strong conversion rate and hopefully increasing it, which we're already looking towards mechanisms to doing that, we should hopefully get a really strong revenue. So we plan on raising our investment in tranches. Our main current, the reason we want to raise investment is to reduce our customer onboarding time and our acquisition cost, and to maintain our strong conversion rate, increasing our audience base and our client base. With this investment, we look to building the technology and getting a client growth team and a community building team to scale our platform to 1,100 active clients and increase our viewership. The last year, we've made impact and got a lot of small businesses on board with our vision. And with Livestream and with this amazing community behind us, we look to be the future of shopping small. If you'd like to be part of our vision, do contact us. Thank you.
Thanks, Emmanuel. Anthony's left us now. Dan, would you like to just make some comments on that?
Yeah, so I think beyond the opening catch about line when you've got the front slide, about, think QVC for kind of online, I think you don't really go into what the value proposition is in case people missed it. I mean, it's quite simple, it's nothing complicated, but it might just pass, and that in itself might pass someone by and what you're doing effectively. So I think you just need to provide, be a little bit more succinct into sort of what it is and give some examples of, and maybe that's the time to bring your clients in. I don't know. You're not doing anything super deep tech here, but but in itself, what you're doing is, it's relatively simple, but you're just new and you're hoping to create a brand. I'm guessing from it. So I think more of that would be powerful. Yes, the team. I wonder if it's the right place for where the team is in your deck. It's kind of, as you say, it's not your conventional Shoreditch. Background is not your conventional background for a startup, but nothing in itself, so, but more than capable, it would seem. So yeah, maybe it's just a distraction at that point when some of the other stuff is more relevant. So, but I think what you're doing could have a huge market potential, I think, at the end of the day, given the growth of what it sounds quite kind of interesting. I think some of the traction you've got is kind of interesting, and maybe that's something that needs to be brought out. And I think you need to maybe paint the picture of where you're going a little bit more, as well as where you've been. I think that would be kind of in itself quite useful. How much was it you say you're raising?
So we're raising $500,000. We're doing it in tranches. We're doing 100K, and we've got our KPI set for that 100K, and then we're looking to raise 400K in a second. So so that's our timeline.
Something like, yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. I think there's got to be a hook at the end to kind of catch the person who's looking at this to please engage with us. I didn't feel there was enough of a. I think, coming back to what Anthony said, there wasn't really a great arc there with the story you're telling, in terms of a middle, a beginning, a middle, and end. Yeah. So, and I think you need to think about that. I know when you're presenting this to an investor, you're not going to be doing this from the couch wherever you are, or it's going to be, but just think about the story arc you're presenting.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it should be, yeah. But all the best of luck. If any question, if I can help in any way, drop me a line. My email's in the chat.
Great, thank you. I'd like to know, because before we actually had our revenue graph in there, which is like we've just started making revenue in the last 3 to 4 months. We're quite early in that festive period, but we were told to kind of take it out because it wasn't, you know, in the hundreds of thousands. It demonstrated growth and like quite good growth, but it just wasn't like insanely impressive numbers.
Can you show me the revenue graph?
We don't. I don't have it in this because I was asked to take it out, and I can send it to you in the email. But the thing about that was, I think we were told that people kind of get put off when the numbers are small and don't see that the graph's going up. But I think in the feedback, some of the previous presentations, you'd mentioned that having that graph is a good visual indicator of growth.
It's the trend it's going in, which is important. Yeah. No realistic VC, or I guess at your stage an angel, if they're experienced, you should go for someone experienced. Don't be put off if they're not interested, if they're, you know, just because they're looking for a dead cert, because then it's, you know, because you're going to have rocky days as a startup. All startups will. But yeah, if you can show the trend, trends are your friends is what the classic phrase is. That's what you should go for. If you will be lost. Most startups are loss making in their first year. Mm-hmm. It's not unusual, and actually it's not, you know, it's not in itself not necessarily a problem. Mm-hmm. So. But your revenues are probably more interesting, or your customer growth.
Great, thank you.
That's great. Thanks very much indeed. I've got literally time for one more. So I've got Yogesh on board. Philip, we're going to have to do you next time. I'm sorry about this, but we're running short on time.
Hey there.
Thank you. Hi. Yogesh, I'll let you carry on, introduce yourself and what you're up to.
Super.
Thanks.
Thank you. I hope you can see my screen.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So I'm Yogesh. I'm the founder and the CEO of NILA. My background is I grew up running a family-run restaurants in India. And for the last 16, 17 years, I've been a strategy and operations consultant working for some big strategy houses. When I was growing up, I thought I was really bad at running the restaurant, managing the good, positive cash flows. But when I traveled around, I realized that the problem for running a restaurant inefficiently is not just limited to hours or per se in India or any particular geography. I realized that 65% restaurants do not survive past 2 years. And what we learned, COVID pandemic has actually amplified that magnitude in a worst possible way. I do not see a lot of restaurants would survive out of this pandemic. And a primary reason for restaurants to fail have been the food waste. 60% of the food is wasted in restaurant value chain. And another reason is that restaurants have been operating for the last 40 years with the same operating model. Hence, they are highly inefficient. At best, they operate at 40% efficiency. And this is largely due to they are poorly integrated. They do not understand the needs or the dietary preferences of the modern diners. This is where we come in. We are developing a solution and we are integrating the entire value chain of the restaurants. We are focusing on the diners who have specific dietary needs. I'm vegetarian. So when I'm searching for restaurants, effectively, and people like me are wasting about a month in a year just looking for the right restaurants they can go out at. Problem for me is not as bad. If I would have the intolerances or allergies, I would end up spending a lot more time searching for right restaurants because I would be so much worried about consuming contaminated food. For restaurants, what we're creating is 3 new revenue streams. So that's our secret sauce. Restaurants no longer need to rely upon diners either walking in or ordering their food via online delivery platforms. Our new revenue streams will give them access to new money or unfounded money from the diners that are usually dining out at their restaurants. Our solution has clever AI algorithms that will help them boost the efficiency by by almost double their efficiency. And this is through smart automations. A lot of business activities, they can be and needed to be optimized and automated. We are going to automate them. And focusing on the food waste, our solution will effectively reduce the food waste by 60%. If you remember the number that I said before, 65% of the food in restaurant value chain is wasted. We're going to cut down 60% of that number with our solution. How do we do that? Again, this is another secret sauce that we're bringing in, that we're shortening the demand response time in the supply chain. So if you're a diner who are something like me, like who is vegetarian, vegan, or have a specific dietary needs, you will download our app. In a few simple steps, you will create your profile, and boom, you're ready to go. So next time when you're searching for a restaurant to go out or even order a takeaway, you will only see the restaurants that are relevant to you. So as I said, I'm vegetarian. For me, there is no point looking at a restaurant or a steakhouse in my search listings. It will also give me back my 1 month a year that I spend, or I would say waste, searching for the right restaurant. We have a simple transaction-driven business model. We have two key revenue streams. First of which is that we charge 5% commission on the food orders that are placed through our platform. And our second key revenue stream is that we're going to charge 20% commission on transactions that are made by the orders that are made by the diners ordering meal kits and then ingredients from those restaurants. This is the secret sauce that I was talking about, a new revenue streams. In terms of the market, we are targeting 6.5 billion UK market with our SOM to be 2.5 million in 2022. These numbers are UK specific because we're targeting the UK market first, and gradually we're going to grow out to Europe, India, and USA. Financially, we are targeting to deliver revenues of, starting with 270K in 2021 with the help of 115 customers, 2.5 million in 2022, and 12 million in 2023. Wait, something just happened. Yes, okay, yeah, here. So in terms of how do we gonna go to market, we have set out our plans to launch our MVP in Q1 of 2021. Effectively next month, we have 40 odd customers that are ready to sign up. We're gonna trial out with 10 customers. We also have outlined those customers. We started building the relationship with the affiliation partners. These are vegan, vegetarian societies through which we're creating the buzz, you know, for within the community, and also get the penetration through restaurants with basically food on the platform on a payment. We will then create our final version of the app or the product somewhere around Q2 of this year, and we continue to build new customers. We also have a letter of intent signed by a large customer that represents nearly 60 restaurants. So we are raising 155K. We also have under SES, EIS. As I said, that it will help us onboard 115 restaurants. We already raised 45K with 2 angel investors, and 155K will help us continue developing the product as well as spend money on the sales and marketing to get the 150 customers within 2021. As for the team, we have a development partner who are based in Ukraine. We have a recruitment campaign launched for senior developer and also within the sales and marketing areas, hoping to fill those positions up in next 2 months. Hence, we will have a complete team to get us going. That's all. The reason behind we think that this is a great opportunity, it's the right time. COVID has magnified, as I said, it's the problem in the restaurant sector. They are dying and desperate for the solution or innovations that can help them get out of this dig. Not only that, they will have to drastically think how they can increase their revenues or find new revenues, you know, in whichever way possible. This is where we come in. We're going to help them achieve that. We have started receiving strong backing, both from investors, but also the customers. We have a simple business model, transaction driven, that helps us scale up as necessary. And we are also building the strong team around us. So thank you. If you have any question, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
I guess thanks very much indeed. For the final time today, Dan, any?
Hi, Yogesh. How you doing?
Great, thanks.
I don't think you need your slide 12, but or it's in the wrong place if you do. I mean, I'd kind of, the story arc was very much almost that you were kind of winding up, why us, everything else, and then you kind of do you jump into that slide 12, and there was, you know, I'm not sure it's the right place for that content at the end of the day. So I'd get rid of it if I were you. Maybe if there's any few messages you want to put in there elsewhere, it's fine. I sensed you were talking quite a lot, if I may say. I think that's more nerves. You know, this is early days for some of you guys presenting, so take a breath, relax. You're in, you know, in the company of friends. No need to speak so much. If you know, just say, in some way, say less, say it paced, think your messages through. I don't want you to go in with a really over-rehearsed presentation, but just say it a few times, do it a few times, record it, listen to yourself back. I hate listening to my own voice, but it will get you, you'll gradually improve. So there's some things maybe outside of the presentation that you need to think about. You're in a really tough job, by the way. Oh, can I just make it clear? Sorry, no, I'm not making clear. Are you about the takeaway, or are you about restaurants here at the end of the day?
So it's a bit of both. We are focusing on small to medium-sized full-service restaurants. So we had a good interest from KFC, and we said that, like, look, we can't support with our innovation.
So I'm ordering in advance.
Sorry.
Am I ordering in advance to looking for if I want a vegan meal or a halal meal? Okay. Yeah,
so as a diner, you would be able to order food, book a table, and when you book a table, you will have opportunity to pre-order your food. And these two new revenue streams that I was talking about, that it gives you access to order ingredients and meal kits directly from restaurants.
So that customer journey, and you're kind of, you know, maybe you want to do a customer experience slide at the end of the day, you're in a really tough space because you're trying to sell into one of the toughest sectors to sell into at the moment. Selling into the hospitality and restaurant sector, investors are there. They're looking to, you know, they're on the whole avoiding, you know, your full dining experience. So you need to think whether that's what you go with at the moment. You know, takeaway map is doing really well at the moment, for instance. So you just need to, now you either need to so you need to come up with a convincing reason why I, as an investor, I'm going to think to myself, all right, I'm going to go with you guys, you know, or at the end of, you know, because maybe you can tell a convincing story that, you know, this is, people are going to be flying into restaurants in a few months' time post-vaccination. So, you know, or you've got some other compelling reason, you know, during COVID, this is ideal for kind of, you know, beat the Deliveroo, for instance, came out of the whole during a time of recession and everything else. And so, yeah, so now is the time you know, say, you know, COVID is going to drive the growth, for instance. You know, you might do some sort of pivot in the takeaway sector. So you don't dodge the question, hit it head on, because I mean, investors are just going to think next, you know, blood as that at the end of the day, or, you know, unless they're focused just on the hospitality sector. So you've really got to be convincing at the end of the day. It's like if you're a hotel sector or something else, Airbnb kind of came out a little bit during tough times, but never in a situation like we've had it during a pandemic. So you've got to kind of sell this to an audience who are going to be naturally reluctant, I think.
Yeah.
The other thing is, can I add one? Sorry.
Can I just add one thing on that point? So the real reason why we're getting a lot of traction from restaurant is that new revenue streams that when we talk about. So I did get the same feedback as, you know, hey, we already have Just Eat and Deliveroo and all that signed up. But let us talk about this new revenue streams. What are you proposing and how do we operationalize it? So that's where the penny drops for restaurants. And is that what you would suggest to highlight?
Yeah, I think so. But I think you need to, at the moment, restaurants aren't. Yeah, I think that may be one way. I kind of wasn't bought in on that, and maybe you need to bring that out a little bit more. You mentioned new revenue streams several times. But and maybe if you maybe you need to flag up that you're having real interest from restaurants at the end of the day. So, I mean, you've got a lot of interest, but interest and money is not going to be the same thing at the end of the day. So if you've got interest in the form of people putting their hands in their pockets, that's maybe more interesting.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
The usual. I mean, you're at a very early stage, irrespective of this terrible time at the moment we're having. So you're at a stage where you're not even typically looking at your angel investors. There's a kind of before angel investors, you've got the kind of classic 3Fs: families, friends, and fools. And but the fact you've got 2 angels is actually a major highlight. So it's good on you, and something worth. I'm glad you brought that out. I think, but you need to maybe good for you for bringing that out. So yeah, I think nice deck, looks good. You're gonna. Oh, that's one thing I was going to bring out. Team. You mentioned team. You look like a solopreneur, one person. You're going to be a lot more stronger if you can go in there with a co-founder or bring someone else into the business, or you've got someone else, some individuals you've hired or something else, because solopreneurs have not got a very good track record if you're an angel and an investor at the end of the day. So it's almost an alarm bell just seeing one person. You may be fantastic, but all good founders need to be able to bounce ideas, and you can look at all the classic startups, so all the kind of Zuckerbergs and everyone's there. They've all had co-founders, even if there's just been someone there to just bounce ideas. So you really need to try and bring someone in if possible, I think.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good. Best of luck. If I can help, Neal will give you my details.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Yogesh, thanks very much. Dan, thank you. Dan's email's in the chat, as is some information on us. But what I'll do is, we've recorded this, so I'll send a link to our YouTube. We'll upload it to YouTube. I'll also send out a separate data sheet to everybody with Dan's details on and such like, and also mine. So thanks very much again, Dan, spending time with us, much appreciated. Just for your information, those who don't know, we hold these regularly, like once a month with Anthony and Dan and a couple of other panelists we're adding as well. We also hold actual pitching and networking events once you've got everything in place and you're ready to raise, then you can come and present to at this stage a virtual audience, but normally 50 to 100 potential investors. So we do those regularly. Again, all our details are on our website, which is exponential-events.com. But again, I'll send out all the information to you guys and girls. So thanks very much. Have a great day, wherever you are, what's left of it. Yeah, thanks again. Cheers, Dan. I'll speak to you soon. I'll send you an email soon, because I think we should actually, I'm not sure if we talked about it before, we're starting doing the cap raising event, sort of like learn how to get investment ready events again. And it would be great to have you on the present.
It'd be my guest. Yeah, it'd be my pleasure. Yeah, and if
pitch deck concepts. Yeah.
Any of you guys want to send me your pitch decks too? Oh, I've probably got access to it if your pitch decks are on your platform, Neal. Yeah,
I'll make sure they are.
Brilliant.
Okay. Well, once again, thanks everybody, and look forward to seeing you soon. And if you enjoyed it, found it useful, please share it on your social media and such like. All helps and gets everybody a better audience going forward.
Best of luck, everyone.
Thank you very much. Take care all.
Thank you.